And welcome to another show of Don't Get This Twisted. I am Rob, along with my always co-host Tina. How are you today?
I'm nice and dry now, Rob. It's been a wet day outside.
It has. It's been crazy rain. And I heard tomorrow is the same.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah, shit. I heard tomorrow is going to be a crap ton of rain as well. At least that's what it says.
One more day.
Yeah, I guess it's just tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. Maybe just tomorrow morning. Like well before you're out of the door. What was that?
Did you say just before 12 is when it's going to be raining?
No. Just before you're out of the door.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. Actually before I'm out of the door, like 4 a.m. So
good.
Oh no, I lost you for a second. I think you blipped and I didn't hear you. Oh. Yeah. So we're going to talk soulmates because I thought it was an interesting conversation. I threw it up on my Facebook and I had some people actually say some things about it which were kind of more interesting, that people actually said something and they had the very different views of how what a soulmate is, I guess. And I think I'm just using the technical term.
Should we give the definition of a soulmate?
Yeah, give the definition because I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, a person ideally suited to another as a close friend or romantic partner. A soulmate is someone who stirs your soul when you meet them, a kindred spirit, an intensely deep connection that seems to supersede linear time. When you meet them, it's like you've known them before or already.
Oh, there you go.
So
yeah, I
put kindred spirit in. We were talking about that earlier. It's part of the definition. Yeah,
exactly. And well, that's good because a buddy of mine, an old wrestler friend of mine, said that he thought that sharing souls is kind of a whole nother thing. Obviously, I think he looks at it on like a much more metaphorical level of like actual souls. Mm-hmm. And where he even said after that, he was like, yeah, what you mean is kindred spirits. And yeah, and I kind of agree with him to a degree. I think most of it is just saying that like you're finding the one that just obviously is like blows your mind, and you do feel like you've known them forever, or they just belong.
But is there just one? Because soulmates, I mean, now that we're older, we see that people needed to be in our lives for different reasons, and not that one is technically more important than the other. It's whatever they came into our lives to do and then stuck around.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of why I wanted to go down this road. I think because I think some people would argue, yes, that they're totally real and that there is someone that only one that belongs to you. Because I had another person who they found the one. They said, now this one it says, my outlook on soulmates changed when I met my current boyfriend. I truly believe that someone becomes our soulmate as we fall in love with them. They start to bring out the best in you, and you truly change your perspective on love. So in that case, along with my friend Terry, who said something that kind of goes along the line of my other friend, she says, do they really exist or do we create them? I think those both kind of walk hand in hand. She's saying that your soulmate, you find out it's your soulmate as you go. You know, I don't know.
I have over the course of my life, there have been people that have come into my life and stuck. They just were there. It wasn't even on a romantic level, although I have had that on a romantic level as well. But it seemed like they were just a missing piece of my life. And they came in and they stuck and they've been there ever since. But I don't necessarily think that it's just one person.
Yeah.
Maybe it's one person you fall in love with. But I believe that we're all put on this earth together for a reason and to learn things from each other as souls do. And I don't know, I just kind of believe that there's more than one, and there's more than one reason for somebody to be that close to you.
Yeah. I mean, I see it from a lot of sides. I think that, again, like on that, it said that it's not just romantic. You can have a soulmate that's just a friend that means that much to you. So yeah, maybe there is something to that, to where you're connected so much that you belong, and it doesn't have to be this, boyfriend or girlfriend thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think the argument to that would be, people who've been together 70 years, like that that has to be something on such a higher level. Now, I think, again, making your soulmate is that longevity. Maybe it's that fighting for that because that they belong to you or with you. I don't know. I think it's a very, I don't want to say slippery slope, but it's definitely a different way of looking at, who it is you think you're supposed to be with. I don't know. I think it's kind of weird because down the line, we've all fallen in love with somebody or falling in lust with somebody. I don't know.
That's, for me though, that's different. Like it takes a little bit of time for that to happen. I think that as I've gone through my life and had people in it that were supposed to be in it, that was instantaneous. That was something like they were put there to be with me and they're with me. Falling in love though, that is something you have to, kind of feed, you have to make that happen. But I don't necessarily think that it's a I don't know. It's, for me, there's been people in my life that I could honestly say have been a part of my life. They've been a part of me. They've been a part of who I am. And the connection is definitely real. And the love between us is definitely real. Whether it's romantic or not is a totally separate situation. But there seems to be nothing that could break that bond. But with a romantic partner, that's a different type of thing. And I think that they're both soulmates, but one is making somebody the one. I don't think there's ever just one person in your life that you're going to love unless you've started, like, not at our age, because we're both single again and we've had romantic relationships. But I don't know. I think that the romantic ones, the ones that are soulmates, those are a different type of thing. But you have to feed both relationships, both types of relationships for it to keep going. For sure.
For sure. But I think that there are people that, like you said, are maybe just meant to be in your life for whatever reason. And through hills and valleys, you find yourself always going back to this person or always finding them, or, mostly as you get older, obviously there's many hills and many valleys. And then you find yourself, married and not being able to see these people for years and years. And then you find yourself divorced.
Going right back to them.
Down this line. Yeah. Where they're just always there. And I believe that there is something like that for sure. I just don't know what to call it. I don't know if I would call it soulmates, but to me, that is the word that we use. And like I said, my friend Jack Stead, he said it, kindred spirits. So, I think they're interchangeable, because I don't think that you ever give your soul. I think that is kind of metaphorical.
Well, look at me and you, Rob. I mean, who would have thought in looking at our lives together, we've played some major roles in each other's lives for each other and never had a romantic interest. But it seems like we always come back around and we pick up where we left off.
Yeah, and it's always
Are you supposed to be a soul in my life? I would say so.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I mean, there's no doubt after 20-something years or 30 years now, right? Over 30.
Yeah, it's over 30.
Yeah, we find our way around back to each other, and mostly at like very opportune times, like where it's like you kind of have to find your when we definitely needed somebody. You know, definitely like, you know, during my divorce, you were there to rush me off to a high school reunion. So, you know what I mean? Like it was just, I agree with that. And I think that, again, you're meant to be there, obviously, because we keep going through this pattern of making sure that we check in on each other or see each other or whatever it is that brings us back to this. So, yeah, I mean, definitely, I would say, I would definitely say we are kindred spirits on a lot of weirder levels as well, because we have
Does
similar.
it always have to be weird, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have a similar sense of humor. You know, and we can talk mostly to each other, and we have no issue kind of throwing things to the wind and just going like,
we leave all the details in the conversation for sure.
Yeah, we don't leave out much, you know, and
No.
I think that is a solid thing, you know,
and we still like each other. There's no judgments.
Well, also because I think that is just kind of who we are. You know, I've said it to you a bazillion times and several other people that if you really knew everything about your friends, you wouldn't be friends with them. You know, we all have a small box in each of us that we lock something up, that you make sure that either you're not comfortable with or you just feel it's not for everyone to know. But I think
there's much that I don't tell you though.
That's what I mean. It's a very small, minute box, because we know that.
I think that we're also very open as people in our normal lives. I think I'm more guarded on this podcast than I am in person. Like the things that will come out of my mouth in person are way more intimate than something I would say here. I want that to change, but when I'm talking to you, I know who's judging me. I know who's hearing me. I know who's, you know, on the podcast, though, I'm like, I didn't know that person was even listening. And I found out like 30 episodes in, and I was like, oh shit, what do they know now that I didn't tell them? You know,
sure.
So it's
I think that's happened with me for sure for here. I'm sure people have listened and I probably said something and they were like, I can't believe you think that way.
Yeah, and, I don't think anybody's surprised on my end, though.
No, probably not. But I definitely think that people who know you on a much more personal level, when we talk about something and you don't bring something up, they're probably more like, well, that's odd.
What's wrong with her?
Like,
she talks about everything.
Like, I can't believe she didn't say something about this, or, you know, she didn't say she disagreed where I thought she would have, or, you know, something to that nature. I think with me, it was more like, I mean, most people who really, really knew me, who listen to this, they know, like, I just say what the hell I want to, and I'll worry about the back end later, because that's just being, you know, who it is. But, and, you know, that also comes to being a soulmate. Like, you have to be able to, if you think you have a soulmate or a kindred spirit, either one, well, we'll use the words as the same. You should be able to say anything, and there can be a reaction, and there can be anger, really, but you still should be the person that comes around and says, hey, and both of us can agree to disagree. Sometimes you have to step back and go, if that's the worst shit that you're ever going to say, all right, I can live with that. And And I think that that's the bigger thing with soulmates when it comes to relationship stuff, mostly, intimate relationships. If you think that this person's the one, I mean the one, you'll look at their darkest, deepest, horrible shit that they've told you that they've done. And if you're okay with that and go, okay, I can live with that. And, if we need to nurse that or get therapy over it or talk about it every day just to make sure it's a level playing field so no one gets hurt over something, that's being a soulmate. That's being able to say, look, at our darkest hour and our worst thing that we've said, I still love you to death and I would do anything for you. That to me is a soulmate, someone that you can, no matter what it is, no matter how much you've hurt me, I can look it back and go, yeah, I see why it happened. And yes, I'm angry and they know it, but we've leveled the playing field again and say, okay, we know we're more than this. That's my definition.
I believe that on a romantic level, when you have a soulmate, it's somebody that you have to love beyond how they are or their imperfections or things that they've gone through. You need to be able to love them through all of that. You need to be able to hear it. You need to be able to live it with them, go through whatever it is they're going through. And at the end, just not have any judgments towards them. You have to still be there to say, hey, you did it. You got through it. Whether you agree with somebody or not, being a soulmate means that you're completely supporting the person that you love. Mm-hmm. And that
Totally.
doesn't mean just financially. That we're talking more of like on a heart level, on an emotional level.
Exactly.
You have to be able to hear everything they have to say, and you got to be able to be okay with it.
For sure. I agree.
And if you can't be okay with yourself, you're not going to be able to do that with even a soulmate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's a lot of inner self before you can share your soul or your kindred spirit. Like you have to be okay with who you are as a person and go, look, this is me. And yes, I have faults, obviously, to lots of degrees. We all have them.
Yeah.
But I'm willing to work through every single thing to make sure that, we can move on and continue this relationship or friendship. I mean, on that level, we've done this 68 times. I think. I don't recall. I haven't looked, but I think 68 times.
Yeah.
We've done the podcast 68 times, and I think we've probably disagreed a few, but not to the degree of being like, I can't believe Tina said that. I just was like, yeah, okay. I can understand.
You know what's going to come out of my mouth, and it's never going to be.
Right. But I think that just shows the level of like where our friendship is. It's like,
yeah,
we're not going to agree 100%. There's no way. Mm-mm. And we've even talked about, we have to have more people on who don't agree with us, because we do agree on a lot of things, and for a show that we give our opinion on,
but
you got
the love, the respect, and the support though hasn't wavered,
sure.
No matter what our opinion is.
Exactly.
And that's true of a kindred spirit or of a soulmate. You have to have that sense of support.
Sure.
And acceptance.
I agree. Yeah, because we are sharing our soul with a lot of people through audio, but we share stuff before we go on here to entertain or give our opinion. So, yeah, I mean, like, I like that most of the time when we come on here, we come up with an idea and we just go with it. And we talk out what we're maybe going to talk about, but we don't give our full opinion because we talk about what it is. Like whatever it is comes up. And at the end, it's like, oh, cool. That was 45 minutes of what we
non-rehearsed
give to the world.
Talk.
Yeah. I just think that's great. And soulmates, true soulmates, mostly romantic soulmates, I think that that's the biggest thing. Communication, and we've talked about it in relationship shows before. The only way you can have a soulmate is that you communicate through everything. And I would say,
I think it's more than communicate, because I've found that I could communicate with people and they could communicate with me differently than what they could even deal with their own, spouse. They can't tell the same things, or they get judged, or there's repercussions for it. Where with me, a lot of times people say, I'm telling you this because you're not going to get mad, or you're not going to judge me, or you're not going to say something. I think that is very important when you have people in your life, especially people that are close to you, that you give them a place where they could be completely honest without judgment. Because so many times, especially with like boyfriends, girlfriends, marriages and stuff, you expect a person to be a certain way, and then when they're not, you have a problem with it. But if you're truly a soulmate, if you're truly somebody that loves them, you have to love past all of that.
mm-hmm.
And that's what makes that ultimate connection.
Correct. And that's kind of what I was going to say as well. Like, you have to look at like when I say communicate as well, I kind of think of, like, when I say you have to communicate through everything. Like a soulmate, you understand you can communicate through touch, through emotion, through sharing certain things, through verbal communication.
Through
when
sex.
You find, that's exactly. There has to be. It's everything. It's that one thing where you just kind of go, this is the one that, and I hate to sound like that rom-com guy, but the one where you can say, look, this is someone that I think I can be with forever. And look, we all know what the reality of a lot of that is. Like, look, we live in a world of divorces and people who break up all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's just, some people are meant to come through your life for whatever reason and continue on to something else, where maybe you find your soulmate going through many of those.
I believe that your ex was your soulmate for a time because you needed to have your son. There needed to be that transition in your life that created what it did. Just like I feel like my ex is definitely a soulmate, to the point where I don't think we're going to not be friends because there's a reason that we were brought together. It just changed the role that we both have in each other's life. But do I believe he is a soulmate for me? Absolutely. He's been through too much. He knows everything there is to know. I mean, we were together so long. There's nothing that he didn't know. We just are going separate directions now in our lives. But is there another soulmate for me? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I would go along with that. I think that there's definitely, there's someone out there for everyone. I think that, regardless of how broken you think you may be, or damaged or weird, because I think that those would be like some of the things that people, I've had people tell me that, like, I'm not meant for anyone. I'm so damaged. Like, okay, well, I think
Thank you, pity party of one.
Well, I mean, no, but look, some people are damaged regardless of whatever it is that got them there. Yeah, well, that's what I told her. I was like, look, everyone's broken. If you don't think everyone's broken, you're crazy. There's some people are just good at putting the glue together and holding that shit together for a little while. But the first time you fall, you shatter again. You got to pick those pieces up and glue them back together again. So I was kind of telling her that. I was like, look, you're not, not lovable, because that's kind of what I got from that. Like, I'm just not lovable, and I'm broken, and nothing ever works for me, and I have a bad picker. And I was like, okay. we all have to keep trying until we find that one. And maybe, some people aren't meant to. That's another reality that I would think that is. Maybe you're not going to find the one. You're going to find the closest facsimile to that one. You know what I mean? Like,
so wouldn't that be the one then?
Sure.
That didn't sound very.
Here's how this is why. Let's say you meet someone and you think they're the one, and it doesn't work out for whatever reason. And again, you're going to say, well, they weren't the one. So, but we all see people as the one. And I think that, like I said before, some people are just meant to come into your life, show you something, open up another door and say, hey, maybe you should have been walking this way the whole time. So I maybe that is just where we were talking about earlier, where people come into your life for whatever reasons. And when they move on, they're just meant to move on.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that they weren't supposed to be there. I don't know. For me, soulmates is so much more intimate. Like it's, and I don't mean sexually, because I look at my brother's friend that just passed away. My brother and he had been friends since the age of 3. They were definitely soulmates, and I'm not trying to be weird or put any messed up spin on it. They were just each other's person that were there for everything and supported everything, and they loved each other. Not that they showed it. I mean, because they were kind of, smart asses with each other and joked like that. But in the end, and watching the end, because I watched that with my brother's friend, like the love that was there, it had no boundaries. It just was what it was. I'm going to be here for you. You're going to be here for me. And they were like that their whole lives. And I do see that as a soulmate, because they got each other through everything that's gone on in their lives since the age of 3.
Right. Well, and I think there's, I mean, I have one of those. My best friend is, I would say he's my kindred spirit for sure. I mean, I've known him since the age of 13. We've been through everything. He was at my wedding. I was at his. And it's funny because as much as we're kindred spirits, we are polar opposites when it comes to some things. And I mean, like very, very wide differences. So it just goes to show you that your kindred spirit doesn't have to be 100%. It has to be what keeps you together.
I have a friend that I met when she and I were 18. Maybe she was 19. It was the first job, adult job that I'd gotten, and she worked with me there. And it was an immediate connection. At first she hated me, but there was still that connection. She had hate, she wanted to put towards me. And then, I started being me. And next thing I know, we were the best of friends, as close as can be. Could finish each other's sentences. She was my secret keeper. I was hers. We were idiots together. We did things that probably we should not have done with each other being around. And we laughed through the whole thing. But the point of that is, every time I was with her, she made me happy, or she made me feel safe, or there was just something about her that really was mine with her. It was just a closeness that we had, and the finishing each other's sentences, and the worst stories we could come up with, the stupidest things we did, the most idiotic times in our lives that we spent laughing at each other. And right. I do believe that, kindred spirit, soulmate, I do believe that she's one of those to me, even though we're not close anymore. Life has, taken us down different paths, but as soon as we're back on the phone, and it could be years in between phone calls, that energy, that love, that attraction, that friendship, it's right back there. And I do believe she is definitely a soulmate, but not on a romantic level, on a spiritual, like, this is one of my people. That she was like a sister to me, but sisters fight. So I hate saying that it was a sister, because we didn't fight. We would, I remember when I was getting engaged to my ex, she's like, what the hell is your problem? He's nothing like what your type is. I don't see you guys together. He's very different. Like, she was really mad at me and gave me a hard time, but then she was also the one that sat there at my wedding and was happy for us and tried to understand where I was coming from. Ultimately, I guess she was right, because it didn't work out, but I don't know how long her saying that could even hold a candle to, because we were together over 20 years. So I don't know it, but I do know the feeling, the emotion when I'm with her is always the same. I just want to I want to make her laugh, and I want to tell her everything. And that's, I don't know. I think she's a soulmate. I do think she's a soulmate. There is no, I don't know. She's definitely a soulmate to me, regardless of time or distance.
I think we all have several of those. My North Carolina friend is obviously my soulmate on a lot of different levels. Like, I've known her since I was 16, and we've been through tons of different things, and again, kept finding each other when we shouldn't have, when there was no reason, or just kind of went around the bend, and it was like, oh, she's back again. And then we would do our things, and then I got married, and then she got married, and we did our things, and then divorce came around, and for some reason found each other again. And the last time it was just kind of a weird thing out of nowhere. I had a dream with her in it, and I was like, I haven't talked to her in a while, and gave her a call. So it's like just weird things like that, where again, some people are just meant to be in your life on whatever level that is.
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree with that. And over the years, I've felt it so many times that I have a hard time coming up with, there's just one person. Maybe there's one person that you're supposed to be with romantically, but I don't even see that. Depends on where you're at in your life and where they're at in their lives.
Yeah, I agree with that too. I think at some point, because we change as humans as we go, that what you're looking for romantically changes as well, or the level that means, where, sexually is obviously that's always going to be a priority, because I think we need that in our life. But where we balance that out of having more friendship than the romantic side, to where they bundle together. It's obviously a bundle, and that's where the soulmate thing I think comes from, is that you do have that bundle of it being both, not just one. So I don't know. I think they exist. Myself.
For sure.
Do we create them? I think at some points in our life, we probably miss the boat trying to make someone that you say, maybe this person's my soulmate. And then, you want it to be so bad that you see them for more than they are. And then you have to step back and go, okay, well, maybe it wasn't. And we're going to move on to the next thing. But I definitely think that we have soulmates on, like you said, many different levels. So for me, yes, I would say they definitely exist. And like you said, I think having multiple kinds of soulmates, I think that there's friendship, and then there's a soulmate friendship, to where it's a bond that you'll take, till the death, to where no matter what it is, and like I said, even if you don't agree, there's going to be times where you're like, okay, I don't agree with that shit. Like my two best friends that are in my text, we have a little text group, and I get texts from them all the time, and it's just me and two other guys. So I nicknamed, on an iPhone, you can nickname the group. So no one jumped on it for a long time. It just had all of our names. So I'm like, cool. So I put fuckers, and they got back to me. They're like, why'd you name it that? And I was like, really? Like, because we're all fuckers. And we've said things, like I said, it's funny because it's like almost like the beginning of a joke. It's, what do you get when you put a white guy, a black guy, and a Mexican guy in a group together? A whole lot of racist shit. They say horrible things to each other. So I've been called every nickname for a white person you can think. Cracker, whatever, name it, honky. I get called that kind of shit all the time.
And worse.
But I know, really. One of them sends memes that me and my best friend, both of us question who he is sometimes. Like, we'll be like, really, dude? And he's just like, what? And I'm like, all right. So you look at people for what they are. We both know that he likes to push the envelope. He does his best to poke the bear. If he knows it'll offend you, he will send worse shit the next time. Like what? And then we've had we've had to stop him a couple of times where we're just like, all right, dude, that not that it passed a line, because there's no line with us. That's the best part. But it was like, bro, like, okay, like for tonight, let's stop. Midnight's a new day. Like you can follow it up afterwards. But I think that the people in our lives who are soulmates, you should be able to offend, make people mad, and have the gumption enough to back it up and go, you said this to me, let's even the playing field because we belong. And that's for one, that is our group. We've been doing this group for, I guess probably 5 years probably. To the point where I don't even, I have it up at the top of my message board. Like you can't get rid of it. It never goes away because it's going to continue forever. And with everybody that you think is a soulmate, you should find a way to, communicate, stay close, mend fences. That's the other thing. If you think that this person's that important, you have to find a way to mend fences, because you're going to hurt someone's feelings or offend them at some point. And if they are that true person that you need to have in your life, you need to find a way to do it. And thankfully with these two yahoos, I'm sure I've offended him or said some shit to him, and it's never taken past. If someone says, dude, like it stops and we're good with each other, and no one passes that line again, or until the next time you say something wrong and we'll call you out on it. And I think that's the important part. And you should do that in a relationship. In a romantic side, definitely the same way. You can't sit next to each other silent for hours at a time and think that it's going to be okay. No. And even if you go down that road, someone has to be the person that says, okay, why are we sitting here quiet, and are we going to continue to do this? Because it's just going to make things worse as as you do it.
But as for like romantic relationships, I definitely do believe in a soulmate. Like there is maybe not just one, because I think we get caught up on one person. I think you could go down many different paths in your life and have many different people be significant and be close to you in your life. But as far as like a romantic soulmate, that person's supposed to be your protection, be your saving grace, be the person that will show up and just be there to make sure you're okay. But it also should be somebody that fuels the fire and keeps you motivated and learning and captivated by the other person. It's not in order to be a soulmate, you have to put everything out there so that they could put everything out there, and you could love beyond boundaries and love beyond, well, if he would just do this, I could love him. It's not like that. You got to be able to love the person through all the crap, all the good, everything. You have to be able to be beyond that. And it's just a part of who they are. It may stay, it may go, they may change it, they may not. But if you are truly in love with somebody and truly their soulmate, there's nothing they could say or do that's going to change that connection that you have with them.
That view.
You could get mad, you could be sad, you could go through whatever emotion, but in the end of all that, there's still that person. And
Correct.
I think that does happen. And people do have that. And I do believe that people strive to have that in their relationships, but they can only have that as much as they love themselves. Because if they don't love themselves, they're not going to be able to love on the level that they need to love a soulmate.
I agree. And I think that kind of entails everything. It starts with you. And when you find the one, you should somewhat mold into each other.
Absolutely.
And again, like I said, I'm not one for that true souls mending or meshing, but there's definitely something on such a high emotional level that you don't not want to be around them. Maybe that's the better one. It's like no matter what, I can still go, yeah, I got to be around him. So I would say that's a soulmate for me. The one person that it's the person that no matter what goes on, you always go, yeah, I got to be around them. Well, there you go. Look at that. That's.
Did we just push this off in like 5 minutes? Because it seemed like it was a 5-minute conversation.
Yeah, we knocked that out pretty damn quickly. And I think that we've showed that at least in our eyes, soulmates exist. Maybe on a different level than some people see them. But again, it's an opinion show. So yeah, I think we did good. Check us out on all our social medias because we want you to listen. You can check us out on Facebook and Instagram and probably more Twitter now that it's going to be free and you can say what you want. And then go to Apple and Amazon, Google, and Spotify because Spotify is cool. You can follow us there, subscribe, whatever it says when you look us up. Hopefully soon we'll be doing video because I just heard that Spotify, you can upload video to it as well. So you can watch us and or listen in the car. It's okay. It's all good.
Yay.
We're going to make it work. It's coming. It's coming. Video's coming. I know Tina's stressed out at me and giving me the eyeballs like, I don't want to do that. But we're going to.
You know, I'm having a hard time with just hearing my voice. And now you want to put me on a video. Yay me.
Yeah. Now I want to put your face on the internet for everyone to see.
Yeah. It's like, come on, Tina, you're my friend. Quit being a little bitch. Let's go. I know that's what you're saying. I get it.
That's not what I'm saying. That's what I'm thinking. But I would never say it out loud.
But again, I know you.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So on that, thanks for being our soulmates. Keep coming back and listening. Any last words that you have, Miss Tina?
Looking forward to next week. So keep listening.
All righty. And on that, this is an opinion show, so don't get it twisted. Keep coming back every Wednesday. We're lining up guests. We're going to have more people on here soon. And if you'd like to be a guest, hit us up on our socials because we would like to have you on as well. And until next Wednesday, we will see you then. Tina, it's been fun as always. You have a good night.
Rob. You
Talk
too.
to you later. Bye.
All right, bye.